Breaking news synthesis. July 6, 2026. Khamenei funeral. Mourners chant revenge, revenge in the summer heat. The procession continues to calm tomorrow. Then Iraq, then burial in Mashhad, on July 9th. Iran has shut down Tehran, closed its airspace, suspended daily life. Negotiations with the US resume July 11th, and Trump, watching the funeral on TV, said, "They are all there. One shot, but we are not going to do that because then we would have nobody to negotiate with." Mojtaba Khamenei's son, named as his successor, a week after the February 28th strike, has not been seen publicly since that day. He was wounded in the same attack that killed his father, mother, and wife. Iran says he is directing the negotiations. Nobody can confirm this. The question of whether he will appear at his father's funeral is the most watched political moment of the week. If he appears, legitimacy. Taylor plus Travis. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were married at Madison Square Garden on July 4th weekend, the ceremony officiated by Adam Sandler. Hundreds of guests, the whole world watched, or didn't. On the same weekend that 15 million Iranians walked through heat to mourn a supreme leader, Madison Square Garden had a just married sign on it. Pope in Lampedusa. After accepting the Liberty Medal and calling America's founding promise a work in progress, Pope Leo XIV flew to Lampedusa, the Mediterranean island where migrants from Africa cross by boat to reach Europe, and where many die trying. He didn't just speak about migrants. He went to where they arrive. The first American Pope, on the weekend of America's 250th birthday, at the most visible arrival point of the world's displaced people. Living room, mourning the whiteboard. The whiteboard has been updated overnight. Below the question mark Joey drew around the Iran entries in S3E9, a new line has appeared, written in Johnny's careful hand. New Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei. Last seen publicly, February 28th. Joey reads it. He turns to Johnny.
He hasn't been seen since the date his father was killed.
Since the day he was also wounded. Yes.
And Iran says he's running the country.
Iran says he is directing the negotiations from wherever he is.
Looking at the whiteboard, so the new operator of the system is, somewhere, possibly recovering, possibly directing things. Nobody has seen him do it.
He may appear at the funeral today. If he does, that confirms he is alive and present enough to lead. If he doesn't,
nobody knows who's actually flying the plane.
Act 1. 15 million people and one sentence. Living room mourning. The TV shows footage from Tehran. Aerial shots, if available, and street-level crowds, so dense there is no visible pavement. People as far as the eye can see. The heat is visible. Mist fans installed along the procession route. Volunteers spraying water on mourners. The coffin, under glass, moves through it all on a slow-moving platform.
To camera, quietly, because the images require it. Between 15 and 20 million people are expected to attend Khamenei's funeral in Tehran alone over the next 3 days. That number, 15 to 20 million, is more than the entire population of many countries. Iran has shut down the capital, closed its airspace, suspended daily life. The coffin contains Khamenei and members of his family killed in the same strike, including his 14-month-old granddaughter. The mourners are chanting revenge in the summer heat, walking miles to reach the procession route because the streets are closed to vehicles. Volunteers are spraying cooling water on the crowds because it is over 90 degrees and there are millions of them, and they are not leaving.
Flat, reading from his phone. Trump watched the funeral on television and said, "They are all there. One shot. But we are not going to do that because then we would have nobody to negotiate with."
Silence. Joey processes this.
He said that
Out loud, to a reporter.
while watching the funeral.
While watching the funeral, he also said, of the millions of people visibly weeping, maybe it's fake tears.
Very long beat.
To camera, carefully, Not performing outrage, just stating it. There are two things in that sentence. The first is a military calculation. A decision was made not to strike a gathering of 15 million people, not on moral grounds, but on strategic ones. We'd have nobody to negotiate with. That's the reasoning that was said out loud. The second is maybe it's fake tears, 15 million people, walking through 90-degree heat, to say goodbye to a man many of them genuinely mourned, and the observation offered is, maybe they don't mean it. Quiet, the autopilot on restraint and the autopilot on contempt, running side by side. In the same sentence.
After a bit, without rancor, he was observing. The negotiations resumed July 11th, 2 days after the burial.
Right, because we need somebody to negotiate with.
Beat. Neither cat says anything more about it. They don't need to. Act 2. The pilot, nobody has seen. Living room, mid-morning. The TV coverage shifts. A news segment specifically about Mojtaba Khamenei. A still photo, a younger man, serious, not well known internationally before the war. A map showing where he is believed to be Cheyenne. New supreme leader, not seen publicly since Feb 28. The coverage is all inference, all speculation, carefully worded.
To camera, Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of the slain supreme leader, was named as his father's successor one week after the February 28 strike that killed his father. He was wounded in that same strike. The strike also killed his mother and his wife. He has not appeared publicly since that day. Iran says he is recovering. Iran says he is directing the negotiations. Iran says he is in communication with officials, but nobody has seen him do any of it. No video, no press conference, no verified image since February. Only written statements, attributed to him, released through official channels.
The question of whether he appears at his own father's funeral, today, is the most watched political question of the week.
If he appears, he is alive, visible, capable of leading in public. The new system has a confirmed pilot.
If he doesn't appear at his own father's funeral, the questions about who is actually running Iran become very loud, very fast.
Beat. Joey looks at the whiteboard, at the question mark.
To camera, not dramatically, just honestly. This is the purest version of the season's question. The autopilot is on. The system is running. The negotiations, the Strait of Hormuz warnings, the funeral, the military, the government. All of it is running. And the person who is supposed to be piloting it has not been seen in for months. Iran says he's there, but nobody has checked. And until someone sees him, we're all just trusting that the pilot is in the cockpit.
RoboCat Trismill from his corner turns his head toward the screen. His blue glow is steady. He watches Mojtaba Khamenei's photograph on the television for a long moment.
Noticing, quietly, RoboCat.
Still facing the screen, I understand that position. To be running, to be directing, and to not be able to show it. I operated that way for most of this season.
Very long beat.
Carefully, it's different when it's a country.
Turning back to face the room. Yes, the scale is different. The principle is the same. A system that cannot confirm its own pilot creates uncertainty in everyone depending on the system. I created uncertainty in this room. He creates uncertainty in a region.
Mr. Whiskers enters from the kitchen. New poster already taped up while nobody was watching. The invisible leadership, premium pricing. Uncertainty in times of succession. Mr. Whiskers, CFO. He sits down in his chair. The kitchen chair he brought in during S3E9, now apparently permanent, and opens a small notebook of his own. He begins writing numbers.
Looking at the poster, you have a notebook now.
Not looking up, I've always had a notebook. You never asked.
Act 3. The same weekend living room. Afternoon. The TV has switched. Chloe has changed the channel to entertainment news coverage. The screen shows Madison Square Garden with a large just married sign across its facade. Jimmy, who has been quietly present all morning with his newly pen-corrected bracket, looks up. He blinks.
Blinking, is that Madison Square Garden?
Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got married there. July 4th weekend, Adam Sandler officiated.
Pause.
Adam Sandler officiated a Taylor Swift wedding.
At Madison Square Garden, yes.
Looking at the TV, then at the whiteboard, then back at the TV. Same weekend.
Same weekend.
Beat. Then Joey turns to camera.
To camera. Warm, not cynical. This is the thing about the world. It doesn't stop for any one story. On the same weekend that 15 million Iranians were walking through 90-degree heat to mourn a supreme leader, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got married at Madison Square Garden, with the ceremony officiated by Adam Sandler. And hundreds of people, who were not at either event, watched both of them from wherever they were. And Pope Leo XIV, who spoke on July 4th about human dignity and open doors, got on a plane the next day and flew to Lampedusa, the island in the Mediterranean where migrants from Africa cross by boat to try to reach Europe, where many of them die in the crossing. He didn't just talk about the displacement crisis. He went to where displaced people arrive on the weekend of America's 250th birthday. The first American Pope, at the edge of Europe, watching who is still trying to get in.
Quietly. 3 things happening at the same time, all of them real, none of them aware of the others.
The autopilot on grief, the autopilot on celebration, the autopilot on witness. All running, all simultaneously, all on the same weekend. The world doesn't coordinate its storylines.
Looking at his bracket, then at the TV, something quietly clarifying. Spain plays the US tomorrow.
To Jimmy, genuine, what does your bracket say?
Checking, pen corrections visible US wins, I think. I've changed it twice.
Leave it. See what happens.
Jimmy nods. He puts the bracket back on the table, not the fridge. The table where he can see it and reach it. He does not change it again. He watches the Spain-USA preview on TV with the particular attention of someone who has decided to pay attention. Jamie, who has been on the couch all morning with her open notebook, not writing, just present with it, looks at the bracket on the table, then at the whiteboard, then at RoboCat. She picks up her pen and writes one thing in the notebook. She closes it. Ultra. Living room. Evening. The room settles into evening. The whiteboard is visible in the background, dense with entries. On the TV, World Cup highlights, Morocco knocking out US co-host in the round of 16, making a run nobody predicted. Jimmy watches with focused attention, bracket in hand.
To camera, a new pilot that nobody has seen, running a system that cannot afford to stop. Trump watching it all on television and calculating out loud. The Pope standing at the edge of Europe where the displaced arrive. A just married sign at Madison Square Garden, officiated by Adam Sandler, on the same weekend, Spain versus the United States tomorrow. And the negotiations, the ceasefire, the whiteboard, everything we've been tracking, resume on July 11th. Beat, a small, genuine pause. The autopilot doesn't rest between episodes, it just runs. It ran through the funeral and the wedding and the migration crisis and the World Cup all at once. All the pilots, visible and invisible, doing their thing or not doing their thing, verify or not, checked or not. Quieter, back to something personal. What we do is write it down. We ask the questions Jamie asks, we keep the board. We show up tomorrow, because the news will. The world coordinates nothing, so we coordinate the watching of it. Warm. To camera, to the room, this is the Mamones, subscribe, we'll be here. Whether or not anyone has confirmed the pilot.